I wish you all the best of luck. But at the end of every show, we like to dive into the top 5 investing tips. You ready to get into it?
Let's do it.
Mate, what's the daily habit you practice to keep on track towards your goals?
Yeah, I would say the biggest one, man, is the Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. I've been doing that since I was like 19 years old. That's been a game changer, and I'm super looking. I've never seen him speak live. The Bigger Pockets conference that's hopefully still happening in New Orleans. He's going to be speaking there, so I'm super excited to see him live. But yeah, the Miracle Morning. I recently started doing like the Wim Hof method with the meditation in the Miracle Morning. That one's been kicking my butt, but that's been helpful too.
Mate, I do Wim Hof every single morning. It's
awesome,
fantastic. The breathing is incredible. I'm actually, just to reflect back, I'm a surfer, and so learning to hold your breath for longer periods of time is really, really important. So
yeah, when I was in the Marine Corps with the Special Forces stuff, like when you do like the drown proofing stuff, like diving into like 16-foot pools and stuff, I did that sort of a little bit. We were doing the Wim Hof method without knowing what it was. But yeah, I would say Miracle Morning and Wim Hof are the two right now.
Awesome. Question number 2 is, who's been the most influential person in your career to date?
Yeah. So I would say actually that person comes recently, Paul Moore from Wellings Capital.
Yes, I know Paul very well.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Paul's got one of the biggest hearts out of anyone I've ever met. We sort of have a weird, so he's originally from Michigan, in the area that I sort of grew up in. I got my MBA and my doctorate from Liberty University, and he lives in the same. He lives in Lynchburg, Virginia now. His book, The Perfect Investment, sort of talks about. They did a case study. I've read like 100 real estate books, and Asheville's never been mentioned even in the top 50 list. And that book had done a case study on Asheville. And I was like, I got to talk to this guy. Like, we have like so much weird things in common. And he had sort of just taken me under his wing recently, and introduced me to some people. And he's just got a phenomenal heart. He's very knowledgeable. He's a go-getter. And yeah, I would say Paul Moore. Yeah.
I know Paul. I've known Paul now for over 5 years, and he's a personal friend of mine. And you're right, he's got a heart of gold, and he is just always willing to help out others. And he wrote an incredible book, as you just mentioned. So for those people listening to the show, definitely, if you're interested in reading that book, get your hands on it. The Perfect Investment by Paul Moore. Question number 3 is, what is the most influential tool in your business? And when I say tool, it could be a physical tool like a phone or a journal, or it could be a piece of software that you just can't run the business without. What is it?
And that's another recent one. That's a phenomenal question. We recently found a company called StayFi. And what StayFi is like, imagine when you go into an airport, a gym, you have to check into the Wi-Fi to use it, put your email address in. There's a company out there that does that specifically for vacation rentals now, super cheap. It's like $6 a month. The equipment costs like $100, but it email captures everyone's email address in the vacation rental, and then we remarket to them off of that. So what you had asked me earlier, like what my goal is with my business, it's to specifically come off of Airbnb and VRBO and be exclusively like direct bookings, especially with like Airbnb and VRBO recently raised their fees. Like I probably get an email at least once a day, or a message at least like once a day about like my prices being too high because of the service fee that we can't control. So I've recently found out that sort of taking them off of the Airbnb platform eventually. So they'll book with Airbnb, we get their email, and then we remarket to them to our own website, which we're building right now. So that's been the biggest tool is StayFi.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Never heard of it, but it sounds like an incredible thing to capture those. Keep building that list, baby.
Building a list, and you're getting paid to build that list. Like they're staying with you. Your marketing's already there. Airbnb's already doing the hard stuff for you. So
awesome stuff. Question number 4: in one sentence, what has been the biggest failure you've had in your career, and what did you learn from that failure?
Oh wow! I would say the biggest one. So I had joined the Marine Corps wanting to be I've never spoken about this either. I had joined the Marine Corps, wanted to do the Special Forces. Once I didn't I trained 4 years for that. And then 2 years prior to that, the biggest failure was not getting selected for the Special Forces. But if I would have been selected for the Special Forces, we would have been talking right now. So it's definitely, that was probably my biggest failure, was like something I prepped for 6 years for that didn't end up happening. And the way the Marine Corps Special Forces is, you cannot go through the training again to try out again, because they do a whole bunch of like mental stuff that's like they want to see how you react to stuff that you're not used to. So my biggest failure was not getting selected for that, but it also, I would have never gotten into vacation rentals if it wasn't for that, because that's when I started picking up real estate books. So my biggest failure is the reason why I'm here today doing this. And I was actually writing about it last night to myself. I was like, man, that my biggest failure turned into like my biggest blessing. So
that's awesome, man. That's such an incredible, self-awareness to look back and say that point, or that particular point in your career and life helped you lead you down another path, which has been even more fruitful for you and maybe able to create, financial freedom for you and your family. So, so well done.
I hope anyone who's like listening, like is like going through a crappy failure right now, like that, it's probably like, if you play it right, it'll probably branch into something way bigger than you ever imagined, which is where I'm at right now. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Final question is, where can people reach you to continue the conversation? They want to be in your sphere. Where do they go? Yeah.
So, Alex Builds is honestly, if you guys have any questions when it comes to the YouTube stuff, like any questions I get, I turn into a YouTube video just to sort of just redirect people. It's Alex Builds. If you guys are having trouble finding it, because there are a lot of Alex Builds out there, it's a little like the logo is a little blue treehouse. You guys can also email me at my personal email. It's alexbuildschannel@gmail.com. So ALEX BUILDS channel CHANNEL@gmail.com. And I'll answer any questions there. If you guys want to leave some questions in the comments, I'm usually on there pretty frequently. So
awesome, dude. Well, look, thank you so much for jumping on today's show. I just want to reflect some of the things I took away. I think it's really interesting to hear how the vacation rental space is changing. Knowing from a personal point of view, I've been going to Asheville. I've seen my buddies, Bryce's, places and just understanding the numbers behind it. But you mentioned 25% cap rates. It's just incredible. And there are opportunities out there, and you're not in the downtown core. You're out in the sticks, when people are still wanting to come out and do that. So I think that was a really big takeaway for me. I think like little things like the StayFi are so important, but also talking about like airdna.co, like that's things that you can go on today and look for real-time data if the listeners out there want to go out and start looking at deals. So really, really incredible stuff. Did I leave anything out?
No, that was it. I would just say when it comes to assessing property or even assessing markets, investing in mountain markets are easier than beach markets, because usually when you're investing in a beach market, like you're going to be paying to be close to the beach. Here, when you're in the mountains, you have multiple mountains that you can build on. It's going to be cheaper from what I've seen to build in a mountain community or a mountain city compared to a beach city. And then just understanding that like people will pay for a mountain view. You can't take the view away. If I looked at like I didn't live here during the 2008, 2009, the crash, but prices stayed relatively in place in this market. And I think it was because of the landscape. It's a beautiful landscape. People flock to here. And I mean, even the COVID thing sort of proved that even more. It's just investing in unique markets like mountain, like with views and landscape markets, but also like building unique properties that people are gonna like, almost like Instagrammable properties, if that makes sense. So.
Sure. Yeah. Well, mate, again, thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we'll catch up very, very soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Reed.
Well, there you have another